Chapter 9, Transportation. We finished our housing chapter and home insurance, and now we're going to do the same for cars and automobiles. Section 9.1, Transportation Choices. Choosing between public and private transportation and what are the differences. Public transportation moves groups of people from one location to the other as efficiently as possible. That's the goal of public transportation. And there's plenty of them out there. I'm sure that you have taken public transportation at least once in your life, whether it's by plane, by bus, by cab. Now you can kind of consider Uber as a public transportation. So all different types, and you see some below with the picture I put of all different types of public transportation and of those different types. First different type is urban. We have our mass transit, and what a mass transit, that is a public transportation in a urban area, okay? And that is your rail systems, your buses. You're moving from place to place in a city or an urban area, we should say. So within the urban, we have our mass transit and commuter service. And that is connecting people from suburbs or nearby neighborhoods to urban cities or just urban areas. All right. So the types of public transportation for urban, we have mass transit and commuter service. Intercity. And what that means is connecting different cities. Okay. We have buses, trains, airplanes. They all connect us to cities. So say from Miami to New York to Chicago, etc. We can take an airplane. We could take a bus from Newark, New Jersey to Miami, Florida, or trains from, say, Trenton to Philadelphia, etc. So that's connecting different cities. And third, overseas, this is our international. That's our boats and planes going to different countries. All right, so our three main sections, and then the types of transportation: mass transit, commuter, intercity, and the ways to get about. That's public. Now, private, this doesn't run on a schedule. It's not available to the public. It's yours. It's for you to use. It's your own transportation. So if you have your own car, that's private transportation. If you have your own bike, that's private transportation. Private transportation is yours and cannot be used by the public. And different types are if you own a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, a bike. There's other different types of private transportation, but the ones that are for you to use and no one else. And this chart here just gives us the different advantages and disadvantages of each when we talk trains and buses, planes, cars, motorcycles, bicycles. Some common, more so common sense, some not. When we deal with safety and weather issues, of course, motorcycles, they're cons. Cons on the right hand side, the right column, pros on the first column, if it is hard to see. Of course, motorcycles not the best for safety or weather issues. Trains and buses you're inexpensive and pretty efficient for the most part, but you have to share it with the public and it runs on a schedule so you can miss it. Of course, planes are best for long distances, but they are pretty expensive, and etc. And a lot of them common sense, but just to be aware of when we're comparing in this section public and private transportation. Car ownership. So when you're deciding on owning a car, you want to consider your needs and cost. Do you need a car? That's kind of what you want to start off with if you're deciding to get a car. Well, do you need it? Do you live in a city where you can take public transportation and it's not a necessity? And secondly, you want to look at, can you afford it? So those are the two main broad questions you ask yourself first. Do I need it? Can I afford it? All right. And if it's yes to those and we want to narrow our choices, you could then ask yourself, well, how will I use it? Am I using my car just for work? Maybe you travel a lot with work. Am I using it to say if you don't work and you stay at home, but I'm driving the kids, and that's my role in the family to drive the kids to practice, to plays, etc. All right, or are you using it all the time, every day for different types of events? And when you say to yourself, yes, I can't afford it. Well, now you want to go in more specifics. Well, what's your actual price range? Now we're talking specific numbers. All right. So couple questions to ask yourself. Those of you, if you're 17, 18, looking to get your first car after you get your driver's license, some questions you may be asking yourself now with your parents. And with owning a car, okay, whether you are going to lease it, think of leasing as renting, or you're going to finance it either all in cash or you're going to take out a car loan, all right, all the different ownership costs. You can look on the top right hand side. I have our KBB logo. If you're not sure or haven't heard of kellybluebook.com, this is where you'll find the average prices for specific models of cars. All right, so a good place to get the value of your car that you have. So, of course, with owning a car, first cost is the purchase price, how much the car costs. There may be a down payment that you have to put on the car, just like a house. Okay. If you do decide to finance it, which means you're taking out a loan, there are finance costs, and we know that's your interest. So we have our purchase price as a cost. That's number one. Number two is the insurance you have on your car. Very expensive. And remember, we were talking about in class risk. More risk, the more you're going to pay on insurance. A lot of you are going to be first-time drivers, very young. You're going to be paying a good amount in car insurance because you are viewed as more risky than, say, someone older who has some sort of history. You're also going with ownership cost of a car, taxes. Okay, there is sales tax on new and used cars, so you have to include that as well. And there's other ownership costs involved. You also have your maintenance cost. Okay, preventative maintenance, that being automotive service that keeps the car running well, and the maintenance that you have to put on a car time and time again, so there's no major occurrences. Okay, that's why you get your oil change, that costs money. Get your wheels aligned. Okay, preventative maintenance, just preventing and having little costs that do add up. Okay, so there's no major issue. All right, checking that your tires are in good condition, so you don't have a blowout on say the parkway, and now you're in a big debt. All right, well, and you're also in a big hole. Okay, checking your tires and just keeping up on your car. It is an investment, and it's hard to see. There's also fuel costs. All right, with gas, big thing you want to look at is the MPG, miles per gallon. All right, the average number of miles a car travels on 1 gallon of gas. That's big now. Bigger trucks, bigger vans have a lower MPG. Your smaller cars, your hybrids, okay, higher MPG, you get a lot more out of a gallon of gas, which is big, really, really big if gas prices increase. All right. So things to consider. What we're going to go into with section 2 of chapter 9 is buying and maintaining a car. And then we're going to finish up chapter 13 talking about car insurance, and that will kind of conclude us on our course.